Hi, I'm Ray Williams of openimage.com.au. Today I thought I'd talk about JPEGs, working with JPEGs, and how you save them down from your PSD, or how you reduce them for the internet. I've been asked this a few times and I thought, I'll throw a video up for this. So here we go. So I'm going to have a collection of images which will sit here. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take one of them and open it up. So they're all PSD files at this time. So I'll just simply open them up. That's no problem. Right, so there's one. And then what I'm going to now do is tell this system to save this for me and choose a size. So you've got a couple of choices here. If it's something for the web and it's just one image you're putting up, you could go save for web, obviously, and do it that way around, or you could go save as. So let's go save for web first, right? Then you'll get the save for web box. Now, you may get an optimized box like I've got come up here now, or, which is far, far too large, and ask it to fit to view. Right, there we go. So I've asked it to fit to view, which was the box down here, yeah? And it's given me a fit to view of both. Now at the moment it's looking at a PNG file, which is not what we're looking for. We're looking at JPEGs. So here's the JPEG, and this is high. So it's saying that the original PSD file is 34 meg. As a JPEG, you'll come down to 1.47. Now this is far too big for the web anyway, and I wouldn't plan to put that up there for the web. So what I would initially do is escape out of all of this, come up to File, Image, Image Size, and then change the size here. Now I, as a rule, don't necessarily put anything more than 1000 pixels up by 1000 pixels. So in other words, the longest side is always at, no more than 1000 pixels. So in this case, I'll put this as 1000 pixels, which is that, which now makes the image itself smaller, but certainly quality-wise is good. And then go back, tell it to save for web. And now, if I ask it to fit to view or fit in view, you can see now the original has gone down from 34 meg all the way to 4 meg. So therefore, actually, hold on, let's go JPEG version, sorry. Yep, so 4 meg. Whereas the JPEG version of the same size then, because we've reduced it, is going to be 285K. And that's at high res, right? So that's not too bad at all. Quality is at 60%, not too bad at all. That should work if you're trying to send something to someone, or put it on Facebook or Twitter or something like that. Now, or Flickr for that matter. All right, so that's one way of doing it. The other way, and I'll come back out of here. I'll make this bigger. There we go. So right, come back to the original. Now, if I can come in and tell it to save or save as, Photoshop will automatically prompt you and say, right, do you want to save it as a PSD, which is what I've got it as initially, or do you want to save it as any of these? Now, if we look at JPEG, we say I want to save it as a JPEG, keep the same naming. I mean, we can change it, but we don't have to. And you tell it to save, you'll get this box up, which is what I wanted to bring up. So you've got a couple of choices here. You can either go for the maximum, right, which says that when it's saved, it's going to be a 6 megabyte file, or you can come down and reduce it down. Now, all of this obviously is quality being reduced, so it's not about size now. This is about quality being reduced. So you've got a couple of choices. Again, if it's something for which you have to enter a competition with and they ask for a specific size, or you have to produce something to be printed. I mean, printed always, I would say, just whack it up to the top and just use the highest quality possible. That way, you know, you can't fail. But if it's something for a competition where they'll turn around and say, you have to have a size of X, you know, it's no more than a meg or no more than 2 meg. This is how you go about doing that. So if it was no more than a meg, that's the maximum I could do with this particular file here. And that's, as you see it there, it says it's a meg. So I could do it that way around. All right, so that's one way of doing it, or another way. Okay, another way. So that's if you're dealing with one single image. If we were to decide to now use a group of images and put, say, a group of images on Facebook, right? Or onto Flickr for that matter. Now, when I'm doing this kind of thing, I tend, like I said earlier, I would always go 1,000 pixels as my maximum. So therefore, it should fill up most laptop screens, which is my aim, not to go crazy and put like 3,000 pixel images up on the web, which is crazy. Not only will it take a long time to come down, but you're also giving away a hell of a lot of intellectual property, which is not a good idea. Okay, so the next thing then would be to then, what would you do if you're here and I've got in front of me 12 images and I want to put all 12 of them into a file, a JPEG file? Well, that's simple enough. You either highlight them, Control A, or just obviously select them the way I just did. Then go up to Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. So we're in Bridge at the moment, for those of you trying to work that one out. So in Bridge, select all, go Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. Once you do that, you get a little box come up. It tells me I'm busy, but don't worry about that. And here we go. So this is the image processor box. That is the first thing it says is, right, I've got 12 images that we're going to deal with. Say yes, I'm happy with that. There's nothing for you to click here. Select the location. So I'm going to ask it to put it back in the same location, because what Photoshop actually cleverly does is creates a folder called JPEG, because that's what I'm asking it to do, right? So in here, what I've got is file type. So what do I want? So you've got a couple of choices here. I could, for instance, save it as a TIFF if I wanted to, but as we're on a JPEG hunt, I'm saving it as a JPEG. Right, so if I put my quality in here as 7 or 8 or whatever, so let's say 8. All right, if I remember right, the maximum. Right, so 8. There we go. And then come over here to resize to fit. So I'll then click on this and say, right, no one side is going to be larger or bigger than 1,000 pixels. And that's all you have to do. Once you've done that, hit run. And what Photoshop will do is go off and grab those images and convert them all down to no bigger than 1,000 pixels each side. And here we go, just going through all 12 of them. It's done. So if I come back to Bridge, there's the folder. So let's just take an example of one of them then. Let's take this one, which is 739, yes? So lighting 739. If I double click on here, I look at lighting 739s, which is you. And if I come down and look at the size of the file now is 267Ks, right? It's a square image, so it's 1,000 by 1,000, because I said no bigger than 1,000, so it's done it, right? And it's kept all the qualities in there. So at the moment, that's set to 267 Ks, and that was 739. If I go back to look at 739, which is here, the original was 21 meg. So that kind of gives you an idea of how powerful Bridge can be to convert your images to a JPEG file. So obviously what you would then do is have everything JPEG wise in here, and then the raw or your original files outside or in another folder called PSD or raw, whatever you're going to call them. Hope this all makes sense. I hope it works for you. I'll see you next time.